everyone. This is Peter Hernandez. I'm your host for The Core Truth, and today I have Kevin DaSilva at Douglas Elliman with us. Kevin works the west side of LA. He works Manhattan Beach. He's a top realtor in our area and in the company. And I invited Kevin to be on the call for a very, very specific reason, two specific reasons. And one is for you agents new starting out into the business, we want to talk a little bit about what you need to do to be successful. And number two is for the really experienced agent, the pro. You know, there's some things you're going to have to revisit in your business right now if you want to keep it growing. And so, Kevin, welcome. It's great to have you on the call. I mean, we go back so far, and you know, we've had so many brainstorming sessions and strategy sessions, and I just love how you just take the most complicated things and simplify them, and then you execute. You're amazing, and we're going to get into that a little bit. But just so people can get to know you, give us a little bit about your background, how you got into real estate. I think even your mom was kind of into real estate. She might have been an influence on this. I'm not sure, but I remember.
Yeah. So she was a developer, and I haven't gotten the bug to go build houses yet, but I do have ideas for homes that, you know, it's just like certain layouts. You walk into a brand new construction or a flip, you're like, what happened here? And you wonder why it didn't sell. But anyway, background, grew up here in Manhattan Beach. You know, went to Santa Monica College, transferred to UC San Diego, studied economics, and blessed that I get to actually use what I studied in business, both in business decision making and helping clients see the bigger picture. And how I got into real estate. First job out of college was finance. Right before that, I did property management, just waiting for the finance job to start. Funny enough, that was working for my mom, managing a large commercial development she had built back in, you know, between 2000 and 2012. So I was managing that, and my friend, I reached out to him. He had recently become a broker, but mainly was developing, and he invited me to join his brokerage. I decided why not. So studied, got my license, joined. It was a little boutique brokerage. Didn't really have a whole lot to offer, so I knew I needed to go somewhere else to get training, and that's what started my path that eventually led me to TELUS, which was acquired by Douglas Elliman, and been happy here since TELUS, since Douglas Elliman, is a blessed thing.
So funny. I think we have so much in common, Kevin. You know, my family was in real estate as well. And I don't know if you know this, but I majored in economics. And I think it does help you because it gives you an overall picture of what's going on. And I think we understand it in ways people don't understand it, which is so helpful because, as you know, economics isn't an exact science. It's a science that's actually happening in real time. It's not like you can put it in a little test tube and try things out. You're actually trying it in the world, and you could cause a recession. You could cause, you know, inflation. You don't know what's going to happen because you're just pulling on these levers. But it gives us insights into the real estate business, and I think it gives us value, you know, for our customers. You know, tell me a little bit about how that actually helps you when you're talking to clients about whether to sell or whether to buy, because I think they probably come to you and say, like, should I sell right now? Should I buy right now? I mean, Kevin, look what's going on in the world.
Yeah. So it does help with the purchase and sale. I mean, the ability to compare options. I mean, you know, one aspect of economics is called opportunity cost. So it's like, what's the cost now? What's the cost in the future? And a lot of people don't look at the future cost. So, you know, here in LA, I found that in the short term, it is cheaper to rent in nice neighborhoods, but in the long term, it's cheaper to own. And the opportunity cost is if you don't own and suck up the additional expense in the short term, not only will you have a higher cost in the long term, you also miss out on the upside of the real estate itself. So there's that part. Consumer theory, like you know, homes are, for I would say over 90 or 95% of individuals, homes are substitutes. I'm not going to buy a home in this neighborhood and that neighborhood to live in. I'm going to buy a home in this neighborhood or that neighborhood. So explaining to home sellers how, you know, if they hit a certain price target, you say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you at that price, consumer is going to go to Santa Monica. They're going to go to Manhattan Beach. They're not going to be here in Redondo Beach, or they're not going to buy in West LA. They're going to move to that nicer neighborhood, because at the end of the day, home, in my experience, over 1,500, but definitely over 2,000 square feet is discretionary. And so, yeah, how does economics play out? I learned that all in school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really useful. I find it useful too, and it does give me some comfort too. Like when we're in an up market or down market, we know all good things and bad things come to an end, and so it's trying to time things. But timing isn't as important for the average homeowner. I mean, it's important for the developer, obviously, because they're working within short windows.
Yeah.
But I always like to tell my clients and my friends that the only bad real estate deal I ever made was any property that I sold. If I had held on to them all, I'd be wealthier than heck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to mention, and nobody seems to listen to me. Ray Dalio actually had a video recently. If you look up on his Instagram, he talks about millennial home buyers and how they live in this life that they have to purchase when everything's telling them not to. Is the best time to, and then they need to sell when everything's telling them to hold. And sometimes it does make sense to trade properties. I have that financial conversation with clients all the time, and occasionally I come into a property that's underperforming. Maybe it's a rental property, and said, yeah, it makes 100% to trade out of this because I could make you twice as much money somewhere else, and somewhere else local as well. So, but we're coming into the months here soon. September, October, November, December. If you look, I was looking at charts the other day. 3/4, so 75% of the time. So out of every 4 years, 3 of the years will actually have a dip in these coming months. And yet everybody doesn't want to buy because the holidays are coming up and they're going to be traveling. They're not sure, but that's the best time to buy. But nobody listens to me.
No, but you're absolutely right. So I know you run the number one small team in California here, and I know culture, mission, vision, values are extremely important in creating cohesiveness in a team, creating, I don't know, I think singleness of purpose. I think you want to talk about a little bit, but the whole concept of rallying behind something does motivate, doesn't it?
I mean, at the end of the day, I've decided, I've chosen for my business to align myself with a very single idea as our mission, and it's 2 parts, and both revolve around the client. So our mission is to provide the best real estate experience and to better our clients' position in the market by providing the best tools, the best strategies, the best service, and the best attitude. And how I see that is really taking all the knowledge we have that will benefit our client and helping them make better decisions in owning, investing, building, flipping. So it's multifaceted. And what's the best way to rent out your property? Should you keep the property or should you sell it and move on to another one? Stuff like that. And so everything's always centered around the client. Our vision, well, there's twofold. So obviously I run the number one small team in California for Douglas Elliman. Our vision is twofold. As far as our clients are concerned, our vision is that everything we promise happens for them every time. Every offer we write is written. We have a 10-step process that we use to write offers. And by following that process, I've been utilizing that process now for about 4 years. I've gone from having every 5th or 6th offer accepted to now having every 1st or 2nd offer accepted. So, we help our clients get into the home they want, and we help them get into it sooner. For listing properties, we have a listing marketing guarantee. And it's essentially that we're going to do everything to market this property that we say we're going to do. And it's going to happen on every listing, every time. Doesn't matter if it's a $1 million, condo or a $5 million house. They're each going to get the same level of, I would say, the same amount of content out of us. Now, in a $5 million house, you might hire actors and rent, Lamborghinis to be parked in front of the home. But on a $1 million home, you might not do those things. But at the same time, they're still going to get the video, the multiple virtual tours, the floor plans, the professional photography, drone photography. I do a lot of business around the airport, so sometimes we have to go outside and shoot in. Either which way, drone videography we feature in all our videos, so they're actually narrated. Yeah, so I mean, that's our vision for the client. As far as our agents are concerned, our vision is just to make life easier for them, so that all they have to do is worry about helping their clients and helping more clients.
So what you're doing is, if I interpret it correctly, is you're creating a consistent experience, and it's an experience of excellence that's going to happen with every buyer and every seller that you work with.
Absolutely.
It's almost like when you order a Big Mac at McDonald's, it's prepared the same way every single time. You're not going to end up with an Arby's. You're not going to end up with an Arby's roast beef sandwich. You know what I mean? No. So there's and I do notice a lot of agents, like if it sells in 2 days, they don't do everything. You know, if you know, like you watch agents cut corners all the time, use their iPhone instead of professional photography, tons of different things. One of the things that you taught me was the importance of video, and you actually did some research on it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So video for selling properties, there's video and virtual tours. Actually, the research I've done myself is, and when I created our listing presentation, you know, the importance of coaching. I have 2 coaches. One of my coaches said, "What's your listing presentation?" I said, "Well, it's just a conversation." He said, "That's not a listing presentation." I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, you know, what does your company have for you?" I said, "Well, I do more than what my company's listing presentation offers." So, you know, it just talks about. And he said, "Well, then you got to make your own." I said, "Okay, whatever." So I made this great listing presentation, but you know, I'm very analytical, and I know when I'm talking to somebody else who's analytical, it's important to have some kind of statistic. So we screened over 350 properties from Palos Verdes to Pacific Palisades. That was on market in November of 2021, and 81% of listings did not feature any kind of virtual tour, no video, no Matterport, no Zillow 3D Home, no floor plans. It was just photos. Some of them had cell phone photos. Most of them had professional photography, which you can expect from a luxury area. But 81% did not feature any of that. And yet, in today's market, and I would say Zillow is the pioneer of virtual tours for homes. They started out with, you know, you used to be able to use your Zillow Premier app to video a walkthrough of a listing. And by simply doing that, you would get more buyers. Then they came out later and replaced it with the Zillow 3D Home app. Well, they still have the Zillow Premier, but it's only for lead gen. The Zillow 3D Home app, and now it's a virtual tour. You know, and simply by using these technologies, they will actually feature your home to more buyers, your listing. So what happened is the pandemic happened, and every other website was scrambling to feature virtual tours and video, because the consumer sitting at home, not allowed to go inside a house unless they had a pre-approval letter or wrote an offer at one point in time, you know, the consumer wanted to see more. And so Zillow was, you know, getting all the views. So everybody started scrambling, Realtor.com, RedfinHomes.com, to feature video and virtual tours on their websites. And now they're all set up with it. And guess what? Pandemic's over. And yet people are moving away from it, when actually it's been proven by these companies. They've been keeping track. I mean, homes with virtual tours get 87% more views. Zillow just came out with a stat recently that homes with virtual tours on their website are 75% more likely to be saved. It's like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, by doing additional marketing, I can actually almost double the amount of people that not only see your house, but like your house.
I love it. So you built the #1 small team in California. And, you know, we've talked about it a lot over the years, and you're very careful in who you bring on your team, and you curate it. And I've seen you turn a lot of people down that wanted to join your team. Talk to us a little bit about why you even want a team and the kind of agents you're looking for to be on your team.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I judge teams by per agent productivity. If the average agent sells 4 homes and you have a team of 21 people and you're selling 50 homes, then you're helping just over 2 people per agent. And if the average is 4, you're actually hurting them. So the way I look at it is my team is meant to not only be of service to the client, but also service to the agent. I want to improve their lives. And if I'm not helping them better their production, then I'm being selfish and just keeping them on. So for me, I'm looking for people who, put others first, who are great to be around, and who want to work hard, because, you see on TV and it seems like all we do is go around and, we look at a house and all of a sudden it's sold, it's misleading. And a lot of people, I wouldn't say everybody, a lot of people get into real estate because they think it's easy, and it's not. I had a conversation, we have one interview later today with an agent potentially joining the team, and then 2 tomorrow. Having a conversation with someone who said, I'm sick of doing the 9 to 5. I said, well, real estate's like this. Imagine taking that 9 to 5, make it 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and you just get to have more breaks. and so you're basically working through breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then you have to set some time away for yourself and for your family. So it's not any easier, it's just than any other job. And if anything, it might even be harder. It's easy to burn out when you're working 12 hours a day with more breaks.
Yeah, you're right about that. So that kind of leads into our next question, which is like, what are the daily habits that you've created for you and your team to grow a real estate business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, number 1 is marketing. I start every Monday morning off with my marketing lady, and we just sit there and crank out marketing. We do very thoughtful marketing. We like to tell stories. We like to be very pointed. I take a very direct marketing approach. Almost every marketing piece has a call to action. I do very, very few PR pieces. I want people to engage with it. And through that engagement, we see who clicks. We create call lists for me to reach out and see how we can be of service. So in growing our business, I've found, and when I joined Telus Properties and had switched over, they allowed me to do email marketing. And so for me, email marketing was the difference between making 5 figures, the difference between making 6 figures. They still have to call people, but simply by sending 2 emails a month, I was able to over triple my business in 1 year. And so what we do here to help our agents grow is Mondays we do team meetings in the afternoons. We do daily check-in, twice a week check-ins on Tuesdays and on Fridays just to see how we're doing. We do group call days. So on Saturday mornings we get together here at the office. We call people from the database. We call people, I have them call people they know, old open house leads, old Zillow leads, old Google pay-per-click leads. And we just, so it's creating that culture of productivity, but also with the backbone of marketing. Everything that we design for myself that we send out to our clientele, we can duplicate and hand over to our agents. And actually, if they, with the Studio Pro, the Douglas Elliman provides, or if they want to use MailChimp like what we will actually input it in there for them with their own links so that they keep track of who's engaging with theirs. Marketing is the core of the business, just alongside lead generation. Our marketing emails get a 43% open rate. So it's really high. And so it really works. We get about a 1% click rate, which is like a 15% unique click. I don't know. Anyway, for every person.
Well, this is good. This is good because it leads to the kind of the realities of lead generation. And it's a topic a lot of agents are really concerned with. The new agents are concerned because they don't have any leads and they're trying to figure out how to get them. Experienced lead agents are concerned because they didn't have to do any lead generation because there was so much business coming at them.
Yeah.
They actually stopped doing it. And now that, business that was coming at them is not happening. So you got to go back out there and lead generate again. And
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this. I think we both agree. I look at lead generation in two ways. There's paid for leads. You can pay for them right now, and then you can sweat equity, earn the leads. And maybe not one or the other is better, and maybe some combination of both is best. But can you talk a little bit about your approach to lead generation and the realities of it? If you have any stats around it, any dynamics around it, that'd be great.
Sorry, dropped my pen. Stats around lead generation. So for paid lead generation, I'll give you this stat. So we spend about $5,500 a month on Zillow leads. I just added a 6th zip code, so we're now going to start being at 5,900. We're best of Zillow, so we actually have this opportunity to get a particular higher quality lead for the rest of the year exclusively. But either which way, spent $5,500 up until this month, and we've made about $140,000 from Zillow lead. So, you do the math. I think we're at like 30, a little bit over, like $3,500 spend for the year on Zillow, making 140. So obviously that works.
Again, so wait. So you've spent, but you're spending $5,000 a month, right? $5,500 a month.
$5,500 a month. But I started out with one zip code, so
it's been 9 months.
It's been 9 months in the year.
8 months. So that's like, let's say $50,000 you've spent.
$50,000.
And you made 140. So you've tripled. It's not 33%. You've tripled your money.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, we tripled. So it works, but
so you're doing better than you realize.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, we have a 7.5% conversion rate from direct calls on Zillow. So it's it works out. Then if I was a new agent and I wanted to start doing paid for leads, I'd do Google pay-per-click. Essentially, I have found that, and I have a hypothesis around Facebook leads. I haven't tested it, so I can't really get behind it. But more narrow message, fewer what do you call it? Anyway, with Facebook, you can put certain screens on who gets to see it. Take all those off, let Facebook deal with it, but put a very specific message on a particular neighborhood because their geographic is so big. But Google pay-per-click allows you to do smaller geographic, and then you can put like people searching for homes in a particular neighborhood or a particular community or particular city. And with those, what I have found is 1 out of 40. So we'll get 40 a month for $250. So that's great. 1 out of 40 will actually reach out to us. And I know that if 1 out of 40 of them are reaching out to us, there's another person that if I called all 40 would also do business. Half of them give you bad information. The other half give you good information. So basically what you're looking at is you call all 40 to see who's who. And then of that 20, there's one who's really motivated, and there's one that's probably a month or 2 or 3 out who didn't want to call you because they're further out. Call that person. Mm-hmm. As far as lead generation goes, when I call my database, I find that 1 out of people answers or responds back. So my goal, and it's been talked about through other larger real estate coaching organizations, if you just have a target of speaking with 50 people a year, there's no reason you shouldn't be making about $500,000. Sorry,
50 a year?
People a week.
A week.
50 a week, 200 a month.
You'll make $500,000 a year.
$500,000 a year. And so my target is to talk to 50 minimum. My target is to talk to 50 people a week. And I know that if only 1 out of every 2 people I call will answer or respond, then I make it simple. If I call 100 people, I'm going to talk to 50. I had a bet one time with somebody, and that's where I came up with that idea. And he said, we made a bet to talk to 50 people. We made a bet to talk to 100 people that week. And instead of focusing on how many people I talked to, I just focused on how many dials I made, and I made 200 dials. And sure enough, I talked to 102 people.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
But if you're outdoor knocking, let's say you don't have a robust database and you've already contacted them all, so in the last 30 days, because you're trying to drum up business, then go out door knocking. And my experience with door knocking is every 100 doors, I'll get 20 answers. And if somebody opens the door, that's an answer. It's a contact. They might shut the door on you right after you introduce yourself, but still a contact. 20 people will answer the door on every 100 doors, roughly. And half of those people will shut the door on you. So you have a little subset of 10 people that is really your focus. In that 10 people, one person, and it makes sense. It actually goes along with the statistics out there for people who are thinking about moving. One person is a potential client sometime in the next 2 years. And so if you want to talk to 50 people purely through door knocking, then all you need to do is knock on 500 doors and you'll talk to 50. You'll talk to 100 people. Half of them, 50 of them will shut the door on you. And the other 50, you'll have decent conversations. You'll get their phone number, their email. You'll add them to your database. And my recommendation for any agent out there, whether it's new or experienced, every person you meet, get their phone number and their email and put them on your newsletter. I mean, it's the easiest way to stay in touch with people when you're not calling them. That's the marketing aspect.
Yeah, I agree.
I talk to people who've been in business 16 years. I say, how big's your database? They say like 700. I've been in business 9 years, and my database is 7,300 people, Peter.
Wow.
It's all about creating the target of people you're going to market to.
That's fabulous. I want to close on one thing because we're running out of time, but if you could briefly talk about the listing presentation in the sense that, what do you think that, you revamped yours, and we don't have time to go into the whole thing, but what did you discover was most important for sellers to hear during a listing presentation?
So for me, it's a little different. And like right now, every 20 appointments I go on, I take 19 listings. So I'm really shifting and focusing on going more listing appointments, because I know that if I can go on 20 appointments between the end of the year, I'll take 19 more listings, Peter. In today's day and age, you have to stand out. You have to be unique and different, but it has to make sense. And so my listing presentation, I start off with a problem. So it's basically, I start off with a question that's very thought-provoking. Peter, you can answer the question. You ready?
Okay.
Peter, let me ask you 2 questions real quick, and then we're going to get to the bigger picture. Would you hire an accountant to only do half your taxes?
No.
No.
I would probably laugh too.
Right? Yeah. Would you hire a gardener to mow half your lawn?
No, absolutely not.
Ridiculous, right? You'd have weeds on one side, you'd have a nice mowed lawn on the other.
Right.
House would look like trash. Right? Then why would you hire a real estate agent who's only going to do half the work?
What do you mean, Kevin?
Exactly. And so the rest of this, and I let them know that's what we're going to talk about today. And then I go into the problem. They're more, by the time they take the listing, they're more worried about getting the next listing than they are about marketing this listing in such a way that it's going to sell for more money and it's going to sell quicker, because the quicker you sell the house and the more money you get your client, the happier they are. It's certainty. You've delivered on your promise.
I love that. And that's all they want us to do is follow through, don't they? And communicate.
I mean, it's doing that. And then, I do side-by-side comparison. Essentially, by the time I get to the end, I summarize, and I have a really good listing that I had in Mar Vista. That was the first house that I ever got to implement what I had just created. It had been previously listed by another agent, $2,880,000. Foolishly, 3 weeks after, literally listed in escrow, fell out of escrow, fired her, hired me. 1 week later, I relaunched it, coming soon, at $2,975,000. I said, if you couldn't sell it at $2,880,000, let's up at $95,000. I implemented this marketing strategy. Can you guess what I sold the house for?
$3 million?
$3,005,000 in 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah. In 4 short weeks, I was able to get my client $125,000 more by implementing this listing process. And so at the end, I said, what would you do with an extra $125,000?
I love that. I love that. Kevin, it really shows the value of a good realtor. And when a realtor is thoughtful and brings a more intelligent approach to the business,
Absolutely.
that's what you do. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today on The Core Truth. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, Kevin, here on this call. How do people get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you?
You can follow us on Instagram, Kevin DaSilva Group, and not coincidentally, it's also our handle on YouTube. We do a lot more long form on YouTube, so if you want our short form stuff, but we're always cranking out new content for clients and for agents.
Thank you very much. This was another Core Truth. We'll see you next week.